Good morning. It's Monday, it's Monday, April the 4th, and I'd like to talk to you about your outline and your quiz. The third quiz will occur this Thursday. It'll open at 8 a.m. and close at midnight. There'll be 50 questions, all of them over poetry. You'll need to know all of the poetry vocabulary words like metonymy and synecdoche and metaphor and simile, as well as authors, titles, main ideas of the poems. You'll also see a few lines from selected poems, and I'll ask you, okay, which poem did this line come from? But I'll only choose the really important lines, usually the first or the last, or some really significant idea contained in that poem. The best way to study for this, to prepare to do well, is to read the poems, to read them and reread them, summarize them, highlight them, outline them. Look up words you don't know, read them out loud, read them to yourself, but read them and reread them, and that will help you prepare for the test. This weekend I was looking at some of your comments on the discussion post from last week. One of the discussion posts asked, how's your research paper coming? And several people said, I need to make some final tweaks or some final adjustments or do some fine-tuning to my rough draft to get it ready to turn in. Probably not. Most of the rough drafts were good, but they were rough drafts. They were very early stage rough drafts, first rough drafts. And that's all I was looking for that assignment. But for the final draft, now we're still at least a couple of stages away from that, but for the final draft, you're really going to need to revise. Revision is an ongoing process, and you want to be continually revising your paper. Also, now remember, the assignment that you turned to me on April 14th, the outline/works cited page, is evaluated for two things. You won't be judged, you won't be graded upon your ideas on page 1, that's the outline, but you will be graded upon the format. The word format means what does it look like on the page. Did you use the correct font, the correct size, the correct spacing, etc., etc. And when you turn in your outline, if you hold it up next to the sample I provided and say, oh, look, my outline looks just like the sample provided, then chances are you're going to get a good grade, because that's one of the things I'm looking for is just format. Does your outline look like the one provided? Now, why am I grading on just that? That seems like a pretty easy grade. Yes, it is. I'm giving you that grade because I want you to turn in something to me that I can comment on, something I can say, this is a great idea, let's continue to develop this. This really doesn't fit the thesis that you started with. Just give you some direction. I want you guys to do well on that final project, the big paper, because it's worth 200 points. It's a huge part of your semester grade. So I'm hoping you'll do well. Now, there are 2 pages to the part you're going to turn on the 14th, and the second page is, of course, the works cited page. On that one, graded for format, does it look right? And secondly, do all of your sources meet the 4 criteria of authority, depth, timeliness, and citation? You only have to have 5, probably don't need more than 6 or 7, 8 is the maximum, but each one should meet all 4 criteria. And they're very easy to find if you'll just use Google Scholar or RefSeek or Microsoft Academic. Now, some people are wondering, well, I found this on the Harvard website, or I found this from NPR or some other reputable source, some other source that seems to be very reputable. Well, that's great, fantastic, and you're welcome to use that if it meets those 4 criteria. If it doesn't, just keep looking. Chances are you'll be able to find that same information in a source that does have an authority, meets the criteria for timeliness, depth, and is cited by other sources. So, yeah, that's what I'll be looking for. I hope you'll do a good job. It's not due till the 14th, but do your best. Keep working, keep revising. Remember to group ideas together. Remember to have a thesis which controls the whole paper and refers back to the topic, and then topic sentences that support the thesis. All right. If you have any questions, I hope you'll let me know, and we'll talk some more later. Good luck.